Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 8th of August 2023. So today we are going to discuss those articles that were there in the editorial section of the newspaper, and also we are going to discuss other important articles. Along with this, we have also included some questions for the prelims exam and also for the mains exam. So let us start the discussion of the newspaper now. So these are list of the articles that we are going to cover in today's discussion. Along with the articles, we have also mentioned the relevance of the topics along with the page number from the Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper. Okay. So in all, we are going to cover 12 such topics from today's newspapers. Okay. So this is the first topic. This topic is very important from the point of view of international relations. Okay, it is important for international relations. Those people who have, let's say, PSIR as an optional, and those people who are preparing for GS paper 2 of the mains exam, it is going to be important for all of you, right? So like syllabus reference has been mentioned over here, and we are going to look into this article, right? So let us start understanding this article now. So name of the topic is, it says China's worldview, its postulates and a reality check. Okay. China's worldview, its postulates and a reality check. So let's understand this topic. This topic is going to be important for us because like India does share some relation with China. China is a neighboring country of India. Okay. So India-China relation, it can be considered to be a part of India-China relation. However, in this article, we are going to understand about like how China views itself, right, in the global economy. How it projects its power relation with other countries. So we are going to understand about this. Okay. So when we talk about China, right? So recently the Chinese leader, Chinese premier. So it is known as Chinese premier. So it is Mr. Xi Jinping. Okay, Mr. Xi Jinping. So the author has talked about like how Chinese government sees itself. China sees itself as one of the emerging nations that will surpass like United States of America. It's going to surpass many other countries, in the world. So it says that China has been emerging, right? Like in this article, the author has talked about various viewpoints that we are going to discuss one by one. First of all, the author has discussed about that China sees the world, right? China sees the world to be a changing world, and it says that changes unseen in a century. China says the world is seeing changes, that were unseen in a century, that was unseen in a century, means in the last 100 years, whatever changes has not happened, now is happening. Because now China is growing at a very faster pace, right? This is what is told by the author in this article. And also the author says that China has indeed been growing at a very fast rate, at a rate of let's say 8% of GDP every year. However, if you talk about past few years, the Chinese growth trajectory has not been at par with its previous growth trajectory. So previously China was growing at a very faster pace, right? And these faster growth was led by some of the policies that China has adopted. So China has adopted a model that is known as economy-led model, okay? Economy-led model, okay? Economy-led model. And this growth in China was primarily because of one policy that was adopted by one of its leader, Deng Xiaoping. I am going to write the name of the leader. Name of the leader is Deng. Okay. Name of the leader is Deng Xiaoping. And this particular leader has talked about this is known as Deng Xiaoping's 4 modernizations, okay. So he has talked about 4 modernizations. So this growth model has been followed by China. And if I talk about the growth model, right, that the United States of America follows, if I talk about the growth model that the USA follows, they follow a growth model that is known as free and open market economy. They follow free and open market economy. And they believe in, right, democracy. They believe in democracy and participation of free market. And at the same time, if I talk about how the Chinese growth has been, so China sees this particular thing that Chinese government, they want to control the economy. They want to control the economic order completely. Okay, they want to control the economic order in China. And the author says in this article that this control mechanism may not work the way that the Chinese leaders see themselves, right? So China wants to emerge as one of the, let's say, leading economy in the world, and also China wants to, let's say, change its power relations. It wants to emerge, right, in terms of its security as well. So in this article, they have mentioned about that global security initiative. China is emerging in its global security initiatives. Global security initiatives. So as per global security initiatives, China wants to, let's say, strengthen the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So they want to strengthen the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. As you know that Shanghai Cooperation Organization earlier had 8 members, right? But recently, Iran has also joined as one of the member of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This Shanghai Cooperation Organization is led by China. This is an organization which is led by China. And apart from this, it has its members like Russia. Russia is a member. India is a member, and also Pakistan is also a member of it. Okay, Pakistan is also a member. Along with this, China is definitely a member. Along with this, 4 Central Asian countries are member of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So when we talk about security wise, right, when we talk about let's say security architecture of China, so China has emerged as one of the most powerful nations in the world because of let's say its economic structure, and also because of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. There are many initiatives, and China also maintains very good relation with Russia, right? Russia is considered to be one of the superpowers in the world, along with the United States of America. Although China, is anti to USA, so United States of America has a policy. That policy is known as engagement and partial containment. So earlier, the United States of America used to follow a policy that is known as engagement, right? Engagement and partial containment, okay, partial containment. So this was the policy that the United States of America was earlier following, but now USA has moved from this particular policy to a new policy which is known as all out competition with China. Okay, it has gone for all out competition, means like complete competition with China, right? And China wants to, let's say, change this particular strategy of USA. How? Now China wants to increase its dominance in the South Asian economy, right, in South Asia. And also China has many such initiatives. For example, China-Pakistan economic cooperation. Then it has Road and Belt Initiative, right? Road and Belt Initiative. So this particular initiative wants to revise, right? It wants to revive the Silk Road, right? The historical Silk Road of China. So in this article, the author has said that here earlier they earlier they were facing this polycentric competition, and cooperation. I mean, like, now the world has moved towards polycentric competition and cooperation. This is known as polycentric competition and cooperation. These terms are very important, so that's why I am writing, because you can also mention these terms while writing an answer in GS paper 2. Okay, so now the world has shifted. I mean, like, earlier the world was divided into two power groups, right? That was, let's say, what we say, like Eastern powers and Western powers, like USA versus Russia. But now the world is moving towards a polycentric, let's say, like competition. Okay, polycentric competition and cooperation. Okay, polycentric competition and cooperation. Now the world is moving towards this. So here China also sees it as one of the leading countries in the world. Okay, and also like Chinese hegemony can be seen from the fact that in World Health Organization, right, China has come up with various initiatives, and World Health Organization also sees China as like one of the leading economies in the world, and like leading R&D doing country in the world. And apart from this, like the United States of America follows something which is known as rule based international order. They want to promote rule based international order. The USA wants to follow rule based international order. However, China also wants to follow rule-based international order, but like it wants to replace the United States of America in that front also. So in this article it is mentioned, the author says that China might need to come up with an alternative theory of modernity if it hopes to beat the West's free market concept and beliefs, but the odds are staked against it. Okay, so the author says that China has to come up with a new strategy altogether. And that new strategy, right, that new strategy should be modern enough so that it can beat the free market economy of the Western countries. And at the same time, right, the author says like it seems very impossible for China to achieve that, right? So with this, like we have some question for you. So let's understand this question. It says, like in the previous article there was mention of, let's say, some grouping. One of the international grouping is Quad. Quad means Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. So as part of Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, India is a member of it, then Australia is a member of it. Okay, Australia is a member. Apart from this, Japan is a member, and United States of America is a member. Okay, Quad. Then there is a grouping which is known as AUKUS. Okay, AUKUS. Its members are Australia, right? Its members are Australia. Its members include the United Kingdom and the United States. Okay, so AUKUS has 3 members, and if I talk about Quad, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, it has 4 member countries. So let us solve this question. This question says, with reference to the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, consider the following statements. Like they have given, let's say, like 3 statements here, and we need to solve this. It says it comprises the United States, Japan, India and South Korea. Okay, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. So it has Australia, India, Japan and USA. Okay, Australia, India, Japan and USA. South Korea is not a member of Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. So that's why statement 1 is incorrect. Second, it says it aims to promote a free and open Indo-Pacific. This is one of the strategy of the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. And also its objective is to enhance maritime security and cooperation. This is also right. So how many statements are true? Only 2 of these statements are true. Means option B is the right answer. Okay, option B is the right answer for us. So we have also included an explanation, right? We have included explanation. You can go through it in your free time. All you need to do is like you need to download the PDF from the description of the YouTube video, right? So along with this, like we have another topic now. This topic says neither the right to privacy nor the right to information, right? So this article has been written in the context of Digital Personal Data Protection Act, right? It has been written in the context of Digital Personal Data Protection Act. and this particular bill, there was a bill that was moved, and this bill has been passed. Okay, this bill has been passed, so we are going to discuss about it. So let's discuss this topic. Name of the topic is neither the right to privacy nor right the right to information, nor the right to information. Okay, here we need to understand about one specific bill which is known as Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. Okay, Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2023. So recently the government of India has, like central government has introduced this bill in the parliament, okay, and this has been passed, right, this has been passed from the Lok Sabha, right, and this Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, this bill does some changes to the, let's say, like, right to information, RTI Act, right, provisions of RTI Act 2005, and also this meddles with the right to privacy of individuals. Okay, right to privacy. And for right to privacy, there has been earlier a report that was published by one specific committee. Okay, one committee has published a report, and that report is very, very important. Okay, so that report is known as this report has been made after the Putta Swami judgment. Okay, so here in this article they have mentioned about all those things that this Digital Personal Data Protection Bill is changing. Okay, so they have mentioned that the personal data bill will boost digital economy. Okay, so recently NASCOM, like, let's say, like one of the organizations, so it has recently mentioned that this Digital Personal Data Protection Bill is going to boost economy, right, it's going to boost economy, they have said. The author also says that yes, it is going to boost economy, right, however it is going to boost economy at the cost of, right to information and right to privacy. I'm just writing RTP as short for right to privacy. Okay, so it is going to do it at the cost of right to information and right to privacy of citizens of India. Earlier, under the right to information, the citizens were empowered. Right? Citizens were empowered, and citizens could seek information. They could seek information from government. Okay, they could seek information from the government. What it means? It means that the government was made accountable. Okay, government was made accountable, and it also enforced, right, transparency. It enforced transparency. This thing enforced transparency from the part of the government towards citizens. And if I talk about Right to Information Act, in the Right to Information Act, it was mentioned that any information that the public information officials will not deny to the Parliament of India and to the state legislatures, they should not deny that information to the public also. So there the scope of, let's say, denial of sharing data was very low, right? And here this Digital Personal Data Protection Bill is doing exactly opposite. Okay, it is doing exactly opposite to it. How? It is like allowing the public information officials to deny information, right? To deny information that seeks personal information from the users. Okay, that seeks personal information. And if I talk about, that seeks personal information, and if I talk about under right to information, they could get personal information also of public officials. Let's say, like, if people want to know what is the salary of this level official and all, so they had to declare this particular thing. But now, citing personal information reasons, that, like, this particular request seeks personal information, they can deny giving personal information. So this is mentioned in this article. Apart from this, the author also says that the right to privacy of the citizens are now will be compromised. How it will be compromised? It will be compromised in the sense that, like, you know, the government can seek any information from the private companies, right? The government can seek any information of data, right? They can seek any data from, here I am just writing, government can seek data from private companies, right? They can seek data from private companies, and these private companies, while sharing the data to the government, they do not have to disclose it, okay? They do not have to disclose it, right? They do not have to disclose that they are sharing this data with the government. And also, if one private entity, let's say one private entity P1, if it takes data from the users, let's say it takes data 1, data 2, data 3, whatever data it takes from the users, they have to tell to users, like, you know, there should be disclosure in their websites, right, that why they need such data and for what purpose this data will be used. However, if they want to share this data to company 2, right, if they want to share this data to company 2, they have to also declare that they are sharing this data with this particular company, okay? This is part of the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. So it makes all the private companies more accountable. It makes the private companies accountable. However, right, accountable and transparency is informed. However, if government needs data, right, if government needs data, then government machinery, they are exempt from, you know, such disclosure provisions. So the author says, like, you know, it is giving more free hand to the government to meddle with the right to information of the citizens and also right to privacy of the citizens, right? And earlier, like, you know, earlier under Right to Information Act, the government was made transparent, right? Government was made transparent and accountable through the RTI Act. Now the citizens are made transparent in the sense citizens' data are taken by the government, okay? And government is, let's say, like, you know, going away from the provision of transparency. So these are the things that has been said by the author. And here, earlier, let's say, like, you know, earlier there were provisions under, let's say, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, okay, which is in short known as MG Narega. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So here what was the clause? That, like, any person who gets a job, right, who gets a job under MG Narega, their data will be disclosed, their data can be accessed, right, their data can be accessed by others also, their data can be accessed by others. However, like, this created a system of social audit, right, this created a system of social audit. However, this Digital Personal Data Protection Bill is doing exactly opposite, right? I mean, like, you know, social audit will be a thing of the past, and also government will be less transparent, you know, than before. So these are the things that the author has mentioned. So author said that the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill makes the government less transparent to the people and ends up making them transparent to both the government and private interest, okay? So this is what the author is saying in this article. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic. This topic is again very important, okay? So let's understand this topic. This is related to sharing of data. So it says purging the nation's data of politics, okay? Purging the nation's data of politics. This is important for GS paper 2, and also it is a topic which is related to economy. So that's important for GS paper 3 as well. So let's understand this topic, right, quickly. Name of the topic is Purging the Nation's Data of Politics. So, in this article, the author has given some examples initially, examples like, you know, there is Indian Institute of Public Administration, right? The author has said Indian Institute of Population Studies, okay, not public administration, it is Indian Institute of Population Studies. Okay, so this institute is based in Mumbai. So we'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about it. So the author says recently the government of India has suspended the head of, right? The government has suspended, right, head of the Indian Institute of Population Studies, right? It was like he was suspended by the government. Why the government has done so? Like it is widely reported that this Indian Institute of Population Studies have released National Family Health Survey data 5. Okay, they have released this data, and since they have released this data, so its head was suspended. Okay, so its head was suspended, and like this was reported by some media outlets. So the author is raising a concern that why government of India, why the central government is, let's say, withholding the data that should be available to the public, that should be available for public scrutiny, and that should be available to the policy makers, because like once population related data or health related data is available in the public domain, so people will be able to take informed decision. Okay, people will be able to take informed decision. Okay, informed decision. And if let's say data is withheld, right, if data is withheld, so policy makers will not be having sufficient input and people will not be knowing what's going on in the country. That's the thing. The author cites the reason, right? The author cites the reason that why the government may have done so, why the government could have, let's say, withheld the data, right? Why the government has withheld the data. So author cites reason. One of the reason that the author cites is that like this data, National Family Health Survey data, it talks about that there is high prevalence of anemia in India. Okay, high prevalence of anemia. Okay, high prevalence of anemia among women in India, right? And this prevalence of anemia has increased, right? And the author says that if this data is made public, people are going to raise questions to the government that why anemia, rate of anemia is increasing in India, why women are malnourished, why, I mean because anemia is directly related to the nourishment or directly related to the food intake that women are taking. Okay, so this is one of the reasons that government wants to withhold this data. Why? Because like in 2024, right, in 2024 an election is pending, right, election is pending, and before election if such data is released, people are going to question the government, opposition parties are going to question the government, and it may act negatively against the government. This is what the author is saying. Apart from this, the author has also talked about another set of data. Which set of data? Which is known as Consumer Expenditure Survey, right? So government has also withheld earlier, right? Government has withheld earlier the Consumer Expenditure Survey. Okay, Consumer Expenditure Survey. Expenditure Survey of 2017 and 18. Government has withheld that data also, and government has cited that there is, let's say, data incongruency. However, the author is saying clearly that these organizations, that Consumer Expenditure Survey is released by Central Statistical Office. It is released by Central Statistical Office. So these organizations are not releasing the data for the first time. They have been doing so for decades, right? And also this Indian Institute of Population Studies, it has been releasing the National Family Health Survey for a long time now, and this is not the first set of data that they came up with something wrong. They have followed the exact methods that they have followed earlier. So the author says that the government wants to stop the data from coming to the public because it is going to highlight the negativities of the government. Along with this, the author has given another example, right? Another example. And in this example, the author has talked about periodic labor force survey, right? Periodic labor force survey, which is known as PLFS survey of 2017 and 18. So government of India has, or the central government has withheld this data. Why they have withheld? Because this periodic labor force survey cites that there was an all-time high unemployment rate, right? All-time high unemployment rate in India, right? All time high unemployment rate in India. And this all time high unemployment rate was, let's say, like, it has surpassed 45 years of records, right? It has surpassed 45 years of record. So the author is saying if the government or central government keeps on withholding such data, although it may work positively for the government of the day to come to power once again, however, it is doing disservice to the public, it is doing disservice to the citizens, and it is doing disservice to the nation. And that's why the author says that surveillance of public data agencies can have damaging consequences. Okay, so the author concludes by saying that surveillance, okay, author concludes that surveillance of public data agencies can have damaging consequences. Right? So this is all in this article, right? So the author has made it clear that, like, public data, the data from the public data institutions should not be surveilled by the government, and it should be allowed to be freely published, right? After doing due scrutiny, whether the data is accurate or not, right? It should be allowed to be freely published. Now this topic is also very, very important. So through this topic we are going to understand about superconductors. So the name of the topic is the quest for a room temperature superconductor, right? Let's discuss about this topic. The quest for a room temperature superconductor. Let's discuss about superconductors. So this topic essentially revolves around superconductors. So what are superconductors? Superconductors are those materials, right? Those materials through which current can pass, right? Current can pass without any resistance. So, like, it will have no resistance. Okay. Superconductors are those materials through which current can pass with no resistance. It simply means, let's say, like, if we talk about conductors that we have, right? Nowadays, let's say in our house wiring, we are using copper wires, or we are using, let's say, like, copper and like other kind of alloys are used. Let's say, for example, we are using copper wire. So for electricity to pass, right, electricity to pass through this wire, what happens? This electricity faces some kind of resistance, and because of which there are electricity losses, or there are power losses, right? There are power losses. And when we are doing transmission of electricity over a long distance from one place to another place, so there are huge losses. These are known as attenuation losses generally. Okay, they are known as attenuation losses. Okay, they are known as attenuation losses because of resistance inside the wire. And wires get heated up also, that leads to, let's say, like, power losses. And if I talk about superconductors, superconductors are going to allow, right, current to pass through them without posing any resistance. Okay, it will have zero resistance. However, the scientists have been doing research to identify the best superconducting materials. So the research expands, right, for more than a century. Means, like, research is happening for more than 100 years in this aspect, and scientists have identified many materials that are having superconductive properties. However, for superconducting properties, they need, right, extremely low temperature. Okay, they need extremely low temperature. They need extremely low temperature. One condition is this thing, And second thing is they need very high pressure condition. Okay, they need high pressure condition, means like in those conditions, right, some specific material show superconductivity. Okay, some specific material show superconductivity. Now that's why scientists are searching for those materials that can show superconductivity at room temperature and at ambient pressure. Okay, room temperature and ambient pressure means like that pressure which is like normally available, right, in the atmosphere. So recently one of the group from South Korea, okay, one group from South Korea, so what they have done, they have claimed that they have identified, okay, one group from South Korea, they have claimed that they have identified superconducting material that showcases the superconductivity property at room temperature. Okay, it showcases superconductivity at room temperature, and the author says over here that like if this is true, in that case it is going to make a hype, it is going to, let's say, like make a hype across the world, because scientists have been trying to find out the best material that can showcase superconductivity. And here in this article they have given certain graphs, okay, some of the graphs. So one of the graphs, the chart, these graphs actually showcases different properties of superconducting material. So if I talk about chart 1, this chart shows the materials ordered by temperature below which they become superconducting. Okay, so means here they have mentioned the temperature in Kelvin, okay, temperature in Kelvin, and and these are the names of the materials like LaH10, then HbCCO, I mean like then neobidium, mercury, like they have mentioned these materials that show superconductivity beyond below a certain temperature, and this temperature is known as critical temperature. Okay, a temperature below which a material showcases superconductivity, that is known as critical temperature. Okay, so I'll write about this thing here, that is known as critical temperature. Okay, critical temperature. And critical temperature for many of the superconducting material is very low. I mean like attaining that temperature itself becomes very challenging for the scientist. The second chart showcases the pressure required to, second chart shows the pressure required to, okay, the pressure required to acquire to induce a superconducting state in some materials. Okay, the yellow color shows critical pressure and blue color shows critical temperature, means like it requires a critical pressure and critical temperature to acquire the superconductivity in materials. Okay, so these are the things they have mentioned about the let's say critical pressure, and also they have mentioned about critical temperature in so atmospheric pressure, right. And the third chart shows when superconductivity was discovered in each material grouped by type. Okay, here they have named the materials. Okay, they have made in the left side they have mentioned the name of those materials that show superconductivity, and here they have mentioned about year, on which year this particular material has showed superconductivity. So it mentions 1909, means like 100 years back some material have shown superconductivity. In 2019 also they have identified some material that show superconductivity. However, I mean like showing superconductivity has happened so far below certain specific temperature, that is very low to attain. I mean that temperature is very low and it becomes very difficult to attain that temperature also, and it is attained at a very high temperature. Okay, so temperature and pressure has been challenges. I mean like we have identified superconducting material for a long time, however we have not been able to attain that superconductivity at room temperature. The scientists are still identifying, try to identify the best material that can show superconductivity at a very low temperature. And the fourth chart, it shows the dates on which papers related to superconductivity were retracted. Okay, so 1992, 2000, 2008, 2016 and 2022. So these were the year where let's say like different research papers have been identified by people related to superconductivity. And recently one of the group in South Korea they have, let's say, released a paper also that like, they have attained superconductivity. I'm going to take another article similar to this one. In that article, there are some more information about that group. And before that, we will take one question for the prelims exam, one question for the mains exam. Now, question for the prelims exam, it says, what is critical temperature of superconductors? Okay, what is the critical temperature? We have just discussed about critical temperature. We have also seen, in the chart, the mention of critical temperatures. So, there are many options. We need to just identify the correct option. It is the temperature at which electrical resistivity of metal falls to 0, right? So, electrical resistivity of metals of superconducting material, right, falls to 0. So, this is right. Okay, option A is right. Now, there is a question for the mains exam. Here it says, what is superconductor? Discuss what are the significance and applications of superconductor. You need to answer this question in 150 words, and it is a 10 marker question. After writing this answer, you can share it with us at evaluation@lukmaanias.com. Okay, evaluation@lukmaanias.com. Write this answer and share with us, and also mention that the Hindu dated this thing, so that like we can evaluate and send it back to you. So with this, like we'll take another topic quickly, and also we have included explanation to this question, to the prelims question. You can go through it, right? This is another topic. It was there in the editorial section. It is based on the same topic, the superconductors. That's why I have clubbed both these topics together. It says, beyond the hype, independent verification is crucial on claims about material LK99. Okay, LK99. So the group from South Korea that have, let's say, claimed that they have identified material that show superconductivity at room temperature and at ambient pressure. So they have named this superconducting material as LK99. So here the author says, makes a point that identifying superconductivity material that shows superconductivity at room temperature has been a challenge for scientists for about 100 years. Since then, lot of let's say scientific research are going on, but so far the scientists have been able to identify superconductors, but like they were not working at room temperature, they were not working at ambient pressure. So either the pressure was required very high, or the temperature was required very low, or there was a combination of both the things. Okay, now here the author says that this particular group has made this claim, and they have released some papers also. However, that paper, the document that they have released is incomplete. Okay, this document does not share all the methods of manufacturing of that material, although that shares some detail about it, and they have named, right, they have named this particular material as LK99, and they have also showcased how they have, let's say, released the paper, what are the properties and how to manufacture this particular material. And if I talk about how do we create superconductors, for this there are methods. So one theory was given by scientists way back for, let's say, that explains superconductivity. So conventional superconductors, those who have abilities, right, for showing superconductivity, was given by these scientists. I am going to write their names over here so that you can remember, right, so that you can remember. So name of those scientists who have given the conventional theory of superconductivity, it is Bardeen, Cooper. Okay, Bardeen, Cooper and Schrieffer theory. Okay, Bardeen, Cooper and Schrieffer theory. Okay, so these people have given a theory, and according to this theory, they have identified conventional superconductors. Okay, conventional superconductors. So conventional superconductors are those superconductors that work at very low temperature and they require a specific amount of pressure. Okay. So here the author says that conventional superconductors, that is those whose conducting abilities can be explained by the Bardeen-Cooper-Schrieffer theory, are distinguished by 4 features. One which has implications on industrial research and diagnostic application and are applicable to overstate. Okay, so here the author says that for LK99, LK99 is the name of the material that this South Korean group has said that this material showcases superconductivity. Okay, so here the author makes a concluding remark by saying that there should be independent verification of this particular let's say claim, because so far none of the material has showcased superconductivity at room temperature. So there should be a proper independent verification, only then this should be made, I mean a public report. So with this, we have another topic for you. This topic is also very, very important. So here we are going to discuss about this Indian mining industry, okay, Indian mining policy shift. So recently the government of India has come up with a legislation, okay. Government of India has come up with this legislation, and this legislation actually, let's say, has amended the Mining and Minerals Act, okay. So there was an act. This act is known as the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Bill. Okay, the bill is known as Mines and Minerals Regulation and Amendment Bill. The government has come up with this thing, and they have come up with this bill to allow the private companies also to do mining activities in certain strategic, critical and strategic minerals. Okay, in some critical and strategic minerals. Okay, this term is important, critical and strategic minerals. Okay, so that they can do this mining activity on these minerals. So what is the, let's say, what is the name of the bill? What is the name of the bill? We are going to discuss about this. Okay, so there was a amendment bill in the Parliament of India, and that amendment bill has amended the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957. Okay, so name of the bill is Mines and Minerals. Okay, Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation. Okay, Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation, Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Bill 2023. So this particular bill has amended the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957. Okay, so earlier there was an act of 1957, and that act is being amended, that act is being amended by this bill. Why they have come up with this bill, I have already discussed about it. Okay, earlier these strategic mineral, critical and strategic mineral, were in the hand of the government only. Only government entities could do mining activities on those minerals. But now now the government wants to allow the private sector also, and government cites some of the foreign reports that India has its geological feature in such a manner that it has many critical, it has many critical minerals, that can be found in various places, and these minerals also include lithium. Okay, government has also categorized. This name is very important because in the prelims exam they may ask about it, the name of these critical and strategic minerals. Okay, it includes lithium also. And why lithium is important? Because we manufacture lithium ion battery. Okay, lithium ion battery is used, and these batteries are used in e-vehicles. Okay, these are used in e-vehicles. So recently there have been reports that in Jammu and Kashmir there were deposits of lithium. Okay, so that was reported. And also apart from this, it also includes cobalt, graphite and rare earth elements. Okay, this includes cobalt, This includes cobalt, graphite. Graphite is an allotrope of carbon, okay. It includes cobalt, graphite and rare earth elements, okay, REE. In short, I am writing this. So, Government of India wants to allow the private sector to participate in it. So, 6 minerals that includes lithium had been reclassified as critical and strategic minerals, making them eligible for exploration and mining by private entities. Previously, these minerals were restricted to government owned entities only. And India's dependency, I mean, like, you know, with this, what will happen, like India's dependency on import of these minerals will reduce, because like we will be able to mine these minerals from India itself, okay. So, it is going to reduce, and that has been a cause of concern for India, because like we were importing these minerals from countries like China, Russia and Australia earlier. Apart from this, you know, earlier we have seen lack of private sector participation in mineral exploration. So, these are the things for which like Government of India has amended the Mines and Minerals you know, Development and Regulation Bill. And so, like, you know, these private companies will be given certain licenses. For example, they will be given I mean, like, you know, these exploration licenses, and so they will be given exploration licenses for a period of 5 years, and that can be extended by 2 years also, okay. So, lot of details have been mentioned over here. You can go through this article in your free time, right, to understand about Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2023. Let's discuss about this topic. It says Rajya Sabha clears Delhi Services Bill backed by 131 MPs. So, earlier we have discussed about Delhi Services Bill, Delhi Services. So, I mean, like, you know, if I talk about the Delhi government, right, or any government as such, right. So, these governments are made by, let's say, elected representatives, okay, by elected let's discuss about Delhi directly. In case of Delhi, right, there is a elected government, okay, there is a elected government, and this elected government is of Aam Aadmi Party, Aam Aadmi Party. So, these elected leaders, right, they want to have effective control, they want to have effective control on services. What services? Like on officers, right, on officers, so that they can appoint officers, they can transfer officer from one place to another. And for that, the Delhi government had power earlier, but recently, I mean, like, you know, recently the central government has come up with an ordinance, right, it has come up with an ordinance. Ordinance means it like Adhyadesh, it is issued by the President of India under Article 123 of the Constitution. So, this ordinance holds the character of an act, right, of the Parliament. Right, this is made during the recess of the Parliament, when the Parliament is not functioning, when one of the house is not there, right. So, then ordinance is made, and after the house reassembles, they have to pass this ordinance through vote, right. It depends on the nature of the ordinance, that like what majority will be required, right. So, central government has come up with this ordinance. That ordinance has taken away the authority from the Delhi government to the and like it has vested this authority to the central government. And central government has also made a body, right, you know, 3-member body, where chief minister will be a member, and there will be 2 other members, one home secretary, one let's say, like, you know, chief secretary of the state. So, like, you know, out of 3 members, 2 members will consist of, let's say, quorum, and if those 2 members take a decision related to services matter, they can pass it to the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, and Lieutenant Governor of Delhi can, let's say, like, you know, pass that particular bill. So, this is being contested by the Aam Aadmi Party, I mean, like, by the party which is in power in Delhi, and in that regard, the Supreme Court of India has come up with a judgment on 11th of May 2023, okay, on 11th of May 2023. The Supreme Court of India has given a judgment, and in that Supreme Court judgment, Aam Aadmi Party, I mean, like, you know, the Delhi government was given the authority, right, on this matter. But just within 8 days, on 19th of May, the central government has come up with this ordinance that has taken away this authority, and since then the Delhi government was thinking of, let's say, like, you know, collecting all opposition members together so that they can defeat this particular ordinance in the parliament once it is introduced. But like it has been passed from the Lok Sabha because the central government presently, the NDA government has majority over there, and it has also been passed from the Rajya Sabha. And this has been passed from Rajya Sabha, and there have been, let's say, like, you know, discussion among members in the house, right? You know, there were opposition members who have raised their concerns, and also there were members from the ruling party who have, you know, talked about their stand. So the Home Minister also has given his opinion on this bill, and also the former Chief Justice of India, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, he is a nominated member in Rajya Sabha. He has also talked about his point, right, related to this bill. Okay, so it has been passed, so that's why this article is mentioned. It says Rajya Sabha clears Delhi Services Bill backed by 131 MPs. There are a lot of things that can be discussed as part of this bill. However, we are just like, you know, like stopping our discussion at this level itself, so that like you just have an understanding about this, like what do we mean by this Delhi Services Bill. Okay, so here as part of this thing there is a triple chain of accountability. Okay, so I'll discuss about this thing. There is a concept of triple chain of accountability. So what do we mean by triple chain of accountability? Here, like, you know, every government has a permanent executive and a, let's say, like, you know, temporary executive. Permanent executives are the officers, right, who are working permanently, and then, like, you know, the elected representatives are for a temporary or short time period. And so in triple chain of accountability, what happens? The officers, okay, officers, or let's say civil servants, okay, civil servants, they are accountable to the ministers. Okay, they are accountable to the ministers, and these ministers, right, are in turn accountable, right? So this is, let's say, one chain of accountability. These ministers are accountable to the state legislative assembly or the parliament. Okay, they are accountable to state legislative assembly or parliament. So this is second layer of accountability. Okay, this was first layer, and these state legislative assembly and parliament, they are together accountable to the people. They are together accountable to the people or the citizens. Okay, or the citizens. This is known as triple chain of accountability. So these ministers, okay, the elected representatives, they need control over the officers so that they can transfer them, they can appoint them, so that they can make them work. Okay, and if this authority is taken away from the, let's say, Delhi government, right, by the central government, so central government will have the effective power on this. So Delhi government will become a toothless government, I would say. Okay, so that is known as triple chain of accountability. Okay, so this thing has been discussed, I mean, like by one of the member of parliament in a debate in the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so this is the thing. Now with this, like, we will quickly move to the next topic. Okay, this topic is also very important, short. Amid concerns, Lok Sabha passes Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. We have discussed about Digital Personal Data Protection Bill in our earlier discussion today itself, the, I think, second article, editorial topic. So that thing has been passed in the Lok Sabha. Okay, that has been passed in the Lok Sabha. So this is related to this thing, and here they have talked about, you know, a Putta Swami judgment in 2017. Okay, so that thing also I have discussed in the discussion. So like we are not going to go deep in this. Then apart from this, we have another topic now. It says international cheetah experts will be consulted, government tells Supreme Court. So you might be knowing that, like, you know, Government of India has something which is known as cheetah reintroduction program. Okay, Government of India has a program which is known as cheetah reintroduction program. So we want to reintroduce cheetah in India. So, like, you know, soon after independence, India was declared as, like, you know, like cheetah was declared as extinct from India. It was declared as extinct from India. So, like, you know, extinct from India. However, like we want to introduce cheetah in India, and for that purpose we had tied up with the government of South Africa, okay, government of South Africa, and we have tied up with Namibia. The government of India has tied up with Namibia. So from South Africa we have imported 12 cheetahs, and from Namibia we have imported 8 cheetahs. So effectively, like we had 20 cheetahs that we have introduced, and we have introduced them in Kuno National Park, okay, in Kuno National Park, which is located in the state of Madhya Pradesh, okay. We have located them to Kuno National Park, and from Kuno National Park 6 of those cheetahs, okay, 6 cheetahs have died, okay, 6 cheetahs died, and along with 6 cheetahs, like 1 cub also died. I mean, like you know, babies of cheetah, they have died. So 7 cheetahs have died, and it has raised concerns among conservationists, among environmentalists, and across the globe, that, like, you know, these reintroduced cheetahs are not suitable for the climate that India gives, right? So there have been multiple investigations, inspection related to this, and the Supreme Court of India has raised concern. They have, let's say, summoned officials, okay, they have summoned officials. Good evening, Suman. Thank you so much for joining online. So they have summoned officials from Madhya Pradesh, and they have asked the central government also that why cheetah are dying, what is the reason for it, okay? And so, like, they have said that, like, you know, the government of India has responded, right, that they have died because of natural causes, okay, they have died because of natural causes. And the central government representative, he has said that these cheetahs who were there in South Africa, they used to stay in colder region, and they have developed far over there. But, like, you know, here the climate in India is little bit warm, and these cheetahs have not been able to survive. And the author says that these male cheetahs, they have a 50% survival chance, okay, they have a 50% survival chance, okay, survival chance. And apart from this, if I talk about those baby cheetahs, or let's say, like, you know, their cubs, so they have a 10% of survival chance only. So this is, I mean, like, you know, this is a natural cause. So that's why the Supreme Court of India has asked, like, you know, you should take proper measures so they do not die further, right? And these things, like, you know, the representatives from the central government, from the state government, they have said that they are going to consult international cheetah experts, okay, they are going to consult international cheetah experts related to this, okay. And so they have also talked about that, like, why the cub was severely had died. So they said, like, you know, it was severely dehydrated, so that's why they have died. Okay, all right, so you are a new student. All right, so this is another topic. This topic is again very important. It says Malabar exercise Malabar to be held from August 11 to 21. Okay, so this exercise Malabar is very important. Okay, exercise Malabar is very important. So what is exercise Malabar? It is a naval exercise. Okay, it is a naval exercise. We can say, like, it's a, like, you know, multilateral exercise. Okay, Malabar is a multilateral exercise that comprises 4 countries. What are those countries? It comprises India. Exercise Malabar comprises India. It comprises Australia. It comprises Japan and the United States of America. So these are 4 countries that participate in exercise Malabar. It's a joint naval exercise, okay, it's a joint, let's say, defense exercise that they conduct. And this time, this exercise Malabar is going to be conducted in Australia, right, in the waters of Australia. And so this is the thing. Apart from this, like, there will be another exercise that is known as exercise AUS index, okay, it is known as exercise AUS index. So this is known as Australia-India exercise. Okay, this exercise will also be conducted between Indian and Australian Navy. Okay, so that will be a naval exercise. So name of this exercise is important, and their name of countries is also important. Earlier there were only 3 countries like India, Japan and USA. Recently Australia has joined. Okay, Australia is a new member and it is going to conduct this exercise Malabar for the first time. Okay, it is going to conduct it for the first time. So that's why this is important. So we do have a question for you, one question for the prelims exam, one question for the mains exam. This question, it says, what is the main objective of the Malabar naval exercise? What is the main objective? So they have given multiple options. One thing, option A, it says to promote cultural exchanges between naval forces of participating countries. It's not cultural exercise. Second, it says to simulate a joint military operation to counteract piracy in Indian Ocean. This is also not the main purpose. Then, to strengthen maritime security and enhance interoperability among naval forces of India, Japan and United States. So this is the thing, this is right. Along with this, there is Australia also, and Australia is conducting it for the first time. So that's why this statement is right. To explore deep sea oil reserves, okay, this is not the thing. Option C is the right answer in this case, okay, although there should be mention of Australia also. However, still it does not make it wrong, okay, because these countries will together, let's say, strengthen their maritime security. Then here this mains question, it says, what is Malabar exercise? How does the Malabar exercise help the Indian Defence Forces? Okay, you need to answer this question. These questions are for practice purpose only, right? You can, let's say, practice writing these answers. So we have this topic. It is a very short topic. You might be knowing that Niger is one country which is in the North African region. In Niger, right, what has happened? Recently there was a military coup. Coup means the military have overpowered the civilian government. They have detained the civilian president and they have themselves declared as the leader of Niger. And soon after that many countries have talked about, right, soon after that many countries have strongly criticized the action of the, let's say, armed forces in Niger, and that includes the United States of America and France. They have criticized this, and apart from this, there is another organization which is known as ECOWAS, okay, Economic and Social Council of Western African, okay, Western African states. So this is, let's say, one of the grouping of those countries that are there in the Western Africa. So they have given a deadline to the military rulers to give up, right, power and bring back the president who was detained, right, by them. So it says that West African bloc ECOWAS to meet Niger coup on Thursday, okay, to meet Niger coup on Thursday. So this is, let's say, a new thing. Why I have included this topic? Because of this particular organization. This is known as some organization of West African states, okay, so economic or social organization, economic and cultural organization of the West African states, okay, economic and cultural organization. And currently its leader is its leader is this country, Nigeria, okay. So this is the membership of the ECOWAS, okay, membership of ECOWAS, the group that we have just discussed, okay, economic and cultural organization of the West African states. So these are the states who are member of this organization, and Nigeria is currently holding the presidentship or chairmanship of this organization. And Nigeria has called, right, it has said, Niger, that the military establishment should back, otherwise they are going to take action, right, against Niger. So with this, we have a question for you, okay, we have a question. It says, with reference to the Red Sea, consider the following statements, okay. Why Red Sea? Because Red Sea is nearby, okay. So here it says Red Sea is bordered by Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Sudan, Eritrea and Djibouti. This is right. It says Red Sea, okay, just a minute. Okay, then second statement, so first statement is right. Second statement says the Red Sea is a landlocked sea surrounded by land. No, it is not a landlocked sea, okay. There are openings also just below the this thing, I mean Djibouti. Then Red Sea is home to the Great Barrier Reef, one of the world's most famous coral reefs. Great Barrier Reef is located in, let's say, nearby Australia. So that's wrong. Only the first statement is right. So how many of the above statements are correct? Only one. Okay. So option A should be the right answer in this case. Okay. Option A is the right answer, and explanation is given. You can go through the, let's say, map of Red Sea. This is the map of Red Sea. Okay. This is the map of Red Sea, and see, like, it is not a landlocked sea. Here we have Gulf of Aden, then, like, it opens up, right, further. So that's the thing. So this is the last topic for the day that we are going to discuss. This topic is about the remarks made by the former Chief Justice of India, Mr. Ranjan Gogoi. So it says the idea of basic structure has debatable basis. Okay. So the basic structure of constitution is, let's say, a doctrine that was evolved by the Supreme Court of India through Keshwananda Bharati case. Okay. So this is a doctrine, and the former Chief Justice of India has made a remark while, let's say, like, defending the Delhi Services Ordinance or bill in the parliament. Okay. So like he has appeared like from the part of the BJP, and he has said that, like, this the idea of basic structure has a debatable basis, and this has been evolved from Keshwananda Bharati case, and the author the former Chief Justice of India has also talked about a book. So there is a book by former Solicitor General. This is known as Andhya Rujina. Okay, Andhya Rujina. ANDHYARUJINA. So the former Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi, has cited this book in his debate, and he said that this book was written on Keshwananda Bharati case. Okay, it was written on Keshwananda Bharati case by former Solicitor General, and this talks about that, like, the idea of basic structure is based on, like, debatable thing. I mean, like, there can be debates on this, and, like, so it does not have a very sound basis. So that's all from my side for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session, and I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.